Again, my name is Wilford Billigodi. I'm your brother in Christ and fellow servant here in Tuba City. I am on Monday through Friday, 10:20 till 12 noon, and it is a joy to be with you this morning. Hey, it is turning into a good morning here, and today's Saturday, March 7th. According to the weather broadcast, it is the return of the blue skies.
And he was sitting there in the living room. He had a gun pointed at his head.
When we are that close to God, we are walking with Him. You know what? This joy of peace is in our heart.
My Uncle Wolfert had much sadness in his life. The sadness was due to the spirit of alcoholism, if you will.
Life on the reservation, that's probably the same everywhere. I grew up in poverty here in the reservation, alcoholic parents, dysfunctional family. I got started into drinking pretty early in life. Maybe I was about 10, 11 years old when my father made me take a drink of whiskey. They used to drop me off at my grandmother's house during the summer times. I guess looking back, that was kind of like a safe haven for me to not be exposed so much to all the dysfunction that was going on with the drinking in the family. Got into drugs and alcohol and all the dysfunction that happens on the reservation. And especially when I was in high school, I couldn't take what was going on at home, so I voluntarily left home. I was homeless here in Tuba City. In the wintertime, I would find an abandoned home. Some I knew that had heat in them, so all I had was a sleeping bag and a backpack of clothes. I remember one particular night I was sitting on the football bleachers. I was just at the lowest I can be in my life, and sitting there just looking up in the sky, looking at the stars. I cried out. I said, "Man, there's got to be something better than this." I think that was, looking back, that was my first cry to God. One of my friends, he was involved in a high-speed police chase. As they were fleeing from the police, the truck rolled over. He got ejected and he got crushed. And so those were kind of like wake-up calls, and kind of start looking at my life. This is a dead-end road that I'm headed down, and I was getting into a lot of trouble with the police force. They knew me by my first name basis. Ended up in jail a lot of times, and I remember a policeman, an officer, talking to me. I was about to turn 18, and he said, "Wolf, next time you're not going to get loose like you are right now, because you'll become an adult. You're going to start spending some hard times, so you better start evaluating your life." I met a pretty young lady, and I found out that she was a Christian. I went to school, went to the refrigeration school. I passed, certificate and everything, and I got off of the life that I was living, and I knew by that time I had a son coming. I knew that I had to start providing for my family. That was a stabilizing effect in my life at that time, to start a family. I knew that this belonged to me, and I need to take care of it. And so I started doing refrigeration work, air conditioning. Spent a lot of years up in Farmington, New Mexico, working hard, providing for the family, but still that alcohol just seemed to just cling to me. And I would start on Friday nights, happy hour, and getting into the local bars and just drinking the whole weekend. And showing up Mondays all hungover, and that really had a strong hold on me. The alcohol still did. And so that was happening in my life. And sometimes I would show up at church, sit there in the back row, and listen to a sermon here and there every once in a while, maybe once or twice a month or whatever. But God's word wasn't really penetrating my heart. I was just showing up for the family's sake. But it was November. It was right around during the Western Navajo Fair. A lot of people come into town, and but I was out there with my drinking buddies, and we were making a beer run. and we're coming back from because the beer establishment is off the reservation. So was coming back from a beer run, and I guess my wife was looking for me all that time, and she caught up with me there on the side of the road, and we had a pretty violent argument, and I upset her so much that she just tore off into traffic without looking back, and when I think about it, I can hear the tires squealing, the glass shattering, the metal crunching that she got T-boned by a truck. And let me tell you that impact was so violent. Man, I thought she died. And both vehicles skidded off the road down to an embankment on the other side. There was a power pole right there, and she got trapped against there. And I thought, man, she died. She had that such a violent impact. So I ran across the road, and she was trapped in there, and she was hurt pretty bad on her shoulder. And all I could do was reach through the window, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And all the ambulance personnel came, the policeman came, and I jumped in the ambulance. I had my friends take my truck, and we ended up at the hospital, and that was, I guess you can call it another wake-up call. So there I was. My wife was injured pretty bad, and I was walking around pretty dejected and feeling, just guilt and anger and all kind of emotions were just overcoming me. And so it was the following the year. It was Easter Sunday, 1995. People were coming back from church and getting ready to have the Easter feast and all. And I said, man, I don't want to hear about God. I don't want to hear about the Bible. And I said, you know what? You guys go ahead and have your feast. I'm going to go take a drive up North Tuba here. I just want to get away. I don't want to be with people and talk about God or whatever. So I started north up of here, and as you know, there's miles and miles of sand dunes up north of here in Tuba City. And I got way up there in the sand dunes, way off the road. There was no more roads. I remember I put my truck in four-wheel drive just to get away. And so there I was up parked on top of a sand dune, and I said, hey, I'm going to listen to some music. I'm up here by myself. And I was flipping through the channels, and I tuned into KETBA. And, it was just like coming into a room and just sitting down, and there was a conversation going on. That's what grabbed my interest. It wasn't no sermon or nothing going on. It was just a group of men talking about Christ. And I heard why the Christ was hanging on that cross. They said he was suffering, and his tongue was stuck to the roof of his mouth. And he said he did that. He's dying for the sins of people. And they were describing some of the different sins. And man, it was speaking to me. He was speaking to me. And I remember one person saying that, it wasn't the nails and spikes that held him to the cross. I always get emotional about this, but he said it was the love of God for sinners. And right then there, I just broke down, and I cried out to the Lord. I said, Lord, I made a mess of my life. I need you. Help me. Come help me. And, that was my cry out to the Lord. And when I said that, forgive me, I'm a sinner. Come help me. And let me tell you, there was this big weight I've been carrying around for years. It just disappeared, fell away. And this peace just entered me. This joy entered me. And yeah, I just felt that peace there in the desert. And as I look back, Jesus pursued me out there into that desert, and he rescued me. And I came back from that desert a different man, a changed man. And I've been walking after the Lord. It's not been easy. It's been hard, but always God is faithful. And back in 2009, I was working on a heater up in the attic, the church that we were attending, and the Sunday school teacher came and said, "Hey, Wolf, the children are cold. You need to see what's wrong with the heat." So the heating unit was up in the attic, and it was poorly lit, and just barely some boards there that you can walk on. And so as I was getting to work on the unit, I stepped off the board and I came crashing through the ceiling. And as I was falling through, I got hung up on the unit that I was working on, and I got pretty bruised up all over my shoulder and my leg. And they rushed me off to the hospital, and then they said there's no broken bones, just a lot of bruising. But as this wound started to heal, I noticed that I lost a lot of my power in my arm. And so I went back in, and they took a second look at me, and they said I had ripped some chest muscles, and that needs to be had some surgery done on. And so that's what I had. I had surgery. They cut me open right here, and they wrapped the cord around my chest muscle, and they stretched it and they pinned it over here in my bone. And so, there was 6 to 1 year recovery time, they told me. And I was thinking, what am I going to do here now? I'm out of work, and something just started coming into my heart, saying, you know what, this is a good time to go to IBC. I always wanted to go to Indian Bible College, and here the Lord opened that door for me. And so just a week after I had my stitches removed, I was in IBC, and I said, well, I'm going to go for 1 year, and then all of a sudden it turned into 2 years, and I finished 4 years biblical studies of there at IBC. And the Lord has opened opportunities. Lo and behold, I'm back here at the radio station. We were on a ministry emergence trip to San Benito, and I heard that they were needing a radio announcer in Tuba City, and it grabbed my interest, and so that is what I'm doing right now. I'm back on the air radio rays for the Lord, and it's been a good ministry. It keeps me accountable. It keeps me in the Word, and so I'm thankful. The Lord's still leading me, and I'm following Him, and so that is